family, Tino here. Welcome back to the Anfield Road Wolves channel, ARW Now. Before we get into this video and what it's going to be about, I just want to say on behalf of everybody at Anfield Road Wolves, thank you. A massive thank you to all of you. We've just hit 100,000 listens on our podcasts. We love what we're doing at the moment and we really appreciate all the love and support we've been getting from you. So having said that, if you want to listen to any of our podcasts or any of our other content, go ahead over to our website, www.anfieldroadwolves.com, and hit the subscribe button on this YouTube channel. But for now, let's get into the video. So, the video today is going to be looking at the Watford game, the first game of the Premier League season, looking ahead to lineup predictions, score predictions, who I think is going to play a major role in the match, and so forth. So, the first name for me on the team sheet, or for every Liverpool fan on the team sheet, has to be Simon Mignolet. At the back end of last season, he was unstoppable, in my opinion. The two games, particularly against Stoke and West Brom, he kept us in that match and was a big player and phenomenal for making us get into the top four. And I think he deserves all the credit. There's still a few fans who I've seen who are still unconvinced about him being Liverpool's number one, but for now, I'm happy. His performances over the last 6 months have improved drastically in comparison to the start of his Liverpool career. Obviously, as we know, he's not very commanding of his box, and he doesn't really come out and deal with crosses that well, which is something that he still needs to improve on. But he's slowly getting there, which is what we like to see. We like to see improvement, and in my opinion, he's miles ahead of Danny Ward and in front of Loris Karius. So yeah, he's the first name on the team sheet, and I don't think anybody could disagree with that, in my opinion. Last season when he got dropped, it's something that all goalkeepers go through, but many struggle to deal with, and I think the way he dealt with it, he fought back, got put in some great performances, and has rightfully so shown himself and consolidated his place as Liverpool's number one, and I think he deserves a lot of credit for that, because that's a trait that not many goalkeepers have, and I think he's just shown the potential to be one of the best. However, I don't think he will be. I'm not saying that he's going to be one of the best goalkeepers, because I still think he's miles away from that, but I think he's just shown the potential to become one. But we'll have to wait and see. So in terms of the defence, I think the two toughest ones to choose is our fullbacks. One easier than the other. I'll start off with the right back. The right back, in my opinion, is going to be Trent Alexander-Arnold, as many other Liverpool fans think. I think he deserves it after his performances in pre-season, especially in the Audi Cup against Bayern Munich. He was phenomenal. He dealt with Frank Ribery absolutely superbly, and he's come on leaps and bounds really since he first broke into the team, and he sort of embodies everything about Liverpool. He's a true fan. He's a Scouser. He's what you want to see coming through the academy. You want to see local lads doing well, and it's great to see that. And I honestly think he could eventually in the future become a Liverpool captain and a Liverpool legend. So yeah, I think he'll start. I don't necessarily think it's as simple as he's going to start, because I think you've still got to look at John Flanagan and even Joe Gomez. But I think in terms of progress and in terms of who fits well for that role, I think Trent Alexander-Arnold will be better placed starting than the two previous guys I mentioned. That's mainly because both of them have come back from recent injuries and haven't had much competitive first team game time, whereas Trent Alexander-Arnold played quite a lot last season and played the majority of the pre-season. In terms of left back, this is a slightly tougher choice. This is mainly because we've got three options. You've got Milner, who in my opinion is the one who will start. You've got Moreno, who played solidly in the Audi Cup and in pre-season, and you've got the new signing Andrew Robertson. I think it's too early for Robertson to start. I don't think Klopp will throw him straight into the first team. I don't think that'd be right. I think he needs maybe another week or so training with the squad, getting used to the way Liverpool play and things like that. I'd love to see him come on and make an appearance, and make a competitive debut, but I don't think starting him would be the right decision. Moreno, albeit I think we need someone like that, like Robertson, Moreno, someone who offers unpredictability going forward, with pace, who will stay out wide, because really Milner comes in wide, comes inside a lot, and he's very narrow in his play. I'm not convinced about his defensive qualities, as many Liverpool fans would agree. He's very rash in terms of some of the challenges he makes, and he often gets caught out on the counter attack. Sometimes his pace makes up for that, but I'm still unconvinced. I don't think 1 or 2 good performances in pre-season is enough to have him as a starting fullback. I do think Milner will start. In terms of the centre-back partnership, it's going to be, for me, the one that seems to be our first choice partnership, which is Matip and Lovren. Matip I'm happy with, albeit he got a few injuries last season, which is frustrating, but I think Lovren is the one that concerns most people, in terms of his inconsistencies. At points last season he was superb and he played really, really well, and he deserves all the credit for that, but a lot of the time he's like Moreno, made rash challenges, poor positioning, not really watching what he was doing, but he's very inconsistent in terms of the way he plays. I think a centre-back is desperately needed. I think Virgil van Dijk is desperately needed. It's a shame we haven't signed him yet. If we had, I'd have put him in the starting lineup. Even if he'd have signed like the day before the game, I'd have still put him in the starting lineup, because I think he's a miles better defender than anybody else we've got at the club. I don't think Klavan is our first team. He's first team centre back ready. He's more of a fill-in when you need him, squad type player. Same with Joe Gomez. I don't think he's ready for first team action yet, in my opinion. He's come back from a long injury, as I said earlier. And I think the two centre back partnership did well last season at points. I'm looking forward to seeing it again. Not the bad parts, obviously, the good parts. But yeah, so that's my defence. Let me know if you agree with any of this stuff down in the comment section below, of course, guys. But let's move on to the midfield. So the midfield kind of picks itself with a few injuries we've had recently. I think in the sitting role, just in front of the defence, is obviously going to be Jordan Henderson. He sort of makes the full team tick, really, and I think his passing and his ability to really control play really is something that we need against Watford. I think we need, with Adam Lallana and Felipe Coutinho out, I think we need someone like that to control the play. In front of him, I'd put Gini Wijnaldum and Emre Can, especially if Milner plays at fullback. If we play Moreno or Robertson at fullback, in my opinion, I'd put Milner in midfield. The Gini and Can combination is they all work very, very hard, and they're very, as many Liverpool fans have mentioned, they're very work and like we're sort of missing that creative midfielder, the guy who orchestrates everything, that creative spark in the team. With the injuries to Coutinho and to Lallana, with Lallana out for a few months and Coutinho potentially leaving, I do think we need a replacement for that. I do think we need another option in that midfield to offer that creative spark. Who it is, I'm not entirely sure at the moment. We've got anybody at the club who can offer that. So yeah, I do think we need another creative spark in midfield. I think that potentially could be our downfall in the game against Watford. But yeah, in terms of the strike force, I think it picks itself, doesn't it, guys? Mane, Salah and Firmino. Just looking briefly in pre-season, you've seen how well they interlink, how much of a bond they've already created with some of the goals they've scored and things like that. I think they're going to be a phenomenal, absolutely superb, really, partnership. I generally think a lot of teams are going to be worried to come up against us, especially if all three are fit and firing. I think it potentially is the best attack in the league. I don't really see anybody else matching the pace and power and creativity that we've got up front. I generally think we could put in a very, very good title challenge, which is what we want to see. In terms of the bench, I'd like to see Dominic Solanke play, or at least come on and make an appearance, because he played absolutely so superbly in pre-season, and he's shown a lot of different sides to his game. As some of the guys were saying on the ARW Weekly podcast that they recorded. And if you haven't checked that out, go check that out as well. It's on Podbean, iTunes, and on the YouTube channel as well. He's shown us a few different sides of what he can do. He can hold up play, he can bring people in, he's pace, he can get in behind, and I think that's what Liverpool miss in terms of a striker, someone who gives you more than one option. With Daniel Sturridge out for the game and potentially back for the Hoffenheim game, I'd like to see Dominic Solanke play a role in the Watford game and show Liverpool fans what he can do in a truly competitive game. Obviously, Klein's injured, as I mentioned, at fullback, and Lallana and Coutinho are out, so I think Moreno will be on the bench maybe. It's a tough one for the bench. I'd like to see some of the young players like Kent, who recently signed a new long-term contract. I'd like to see him maybe get involved, maybe at the end if we're winning. I'd like to see him come on and make at least an appearance. I want to see him make more of an impact this season, because he's improved a lot. The loan last year did him really well, and he looks like a completely different player. I think even Klopp said that in a press conference. So yeah, let's move on to the score. In my opinion, Liverpool are going to win. I think it's an obvious one. Most fans would really expect that. I have seen a few fans worried about Liverpool last season, their inability to beat lower sided teams at the bottom half. I think that's something we need to get over, the worry that going into every game, if they're not a top six side, that we're going to lose or we're going to struggle. I think we need to be positive. We need to go into the game heads held high, thinking yes, we are going to win this game, because we have got the quality and the interlink and the play to be able to do that and overturn any team in the league. And I honestly do feel that we'll win the game. I think it'll be 3-1. I think, in my opinion, Watford will score first. I think it will take a few moments for Liverpool to get settled in the game. But I do think Liverpool will be the overall results. I want to see Salah play a big role in the game. I'd like to see him maybe get on the score sheet or assists. I just want to see really how the front three interlink in a competitive, tough game, especially against a very good Watford side, because they have made some very solid signings, especially with Andre Gray, I believe they signed. They've also signed Will Hughes, I believe, a very young centre midfielder from Derby. I think he's meant to be the next best thing. I think that's a solid signing for him. The area which I think we could capitalise on potentially is centre backs for Watford. Their centre backs aren't the quickest, and I'm not entirely sure who their starting centre backs would be. I think you've got Kabul, is it Prudel? I think the pace on them, I do think this is something Liverpool could take advantage of. So yeah, I hope we win the game, and I hope everybody stays positive. But if you've enjoyed the video, guys, please leave a like and a thumbs up on the video. Subscribe for more quality content. But this is it for me, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. I'm out. Stay positive. See you later.